Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to be discussing that sacrifice of the red heifer that recently took place in Israel. I'll also be reacting to Adam King and what he has to say about it as someone who's, I guess, in the know because he received some of the ashes from that very sacrifice and went on Timcast IRL to talk about it. So let's dive in.
This was a big thing over at InfoWars and on the dissident right media for the longest time, the Jew hate media. Yeah, do you have my
All right, I gotta stop it already right here. Adam King always acts like such a victim. Okay, this, just to be clear, this is not a Jew hate channel right here. My goal is to evangelize Jewish people, get them over to Christianity. I think that that is coming soon. They will convert in mass.
tweet that I actually put on my... So I basically, what happened, if you want to go to the first slide first before we play the video, about a month ago on July 1st,
That one. Right?
there was an announcement that they were going to do a practice run of the Red Heifer. And prior to this, the media outrage that the Jews were going to go do this Red Heifer, you had like these lunatics like Stu Peters and others who were saying, this is going to usher in the Antichrist, blah, blah.
Okay, is Stu Peters really the crazy person here, or anyone for that matter, who's talking about, okay, this ritual's a little strange? Does Adam King honestly think that he's the normal person here? The one who's like, yeah, me and my buddies, we just like slit the throat of some heifer at the Mount of Olives in order to bring on our prophecy. And Adam thinks he's the normal person in this situation? Like, what universe does he live in? You don't have to sacrifice animals anymore, bro. Christ already came. And it's 2025.
Blah, blah, and it was like a real big media balagan. It was really a bad twist. So they said that and also the government wasn't going to let them. So what they did was they said, we're just going to do a practice one with one of the 5 disqualified cows. The government said, okay, whatever. They ended up going out, doing a real cow. One of the cow's name was Tikva. They made the offering, and it was a real offering. They did it all by the laws, and I have with me some of the ashes right here, red heifer ashes.
Okay, so basically they tricked the authorities and then sacrificed the real heifer anyway to do their prophecy. All right. So basically, this kind of seems like it's an escalation to me in the ongoing Israel-Gaza war. They're basically provoking the Muslims in the region, saying like, look, we just sacrificed the red heifer, which is the precedent of taking down the Al-Aqsa Mosque so they can rebuild the Third Temple, which would be an extremely aggressive move by the Israelis in the region against not just the Palestinians, but every single Arab in that area. So whether this is some sort of mystical thing that occurred or not, it's also a very strategic thing for them to do during wartime.
It's pretty incredible. The red heifer, the last time that the red heifer was done was over 2,000 years ago. The first time it was done by Moses. The second time it was done by Ezra from the book in the Bible. And that shows you how long the ashes can last for. So a pure red heifer doesn't come about all the time. And in this generation, we had 21 of them that were born. Pure. They picked 7 to bring to Israel. And out of the 7, Israel only allowed them to have 5 brought in. And they've been sitting around just doing nothing because the media outrage has been so astronomical about it. But the red heifer people, they fooled everybody. And they successfully performed the ritual about a month ago. Now, in the ritual, you're supposed to have hyssop. I have also hyssop that is from the actual ritual, and also the red heifer ashes. And these get put into a clay jar and then sprinkled on people in a healing ritual. And it removes the impurity of death and allows for people to heal. So since this started, they have been sprinkling on people. There was a man with Alzheimer's who just started remembering everything, sight to the blind. There's some real miracles that have happened in the last month since this thing has gone down. But the ashes, just like I have a little bag, there was 10.5 gallons of ashes. And this is only a dime bag full. And these ashes have been disseminated. They're here to stay. They will never be found. So many people have them. And this little bag can power about 10,000 doses.
Okay, the only red heifer that can empower you like that is Red Bull. Sorry.
Power about it. That makes it sound like really potent cocaine.
It packs a punch. Yeah.
This is the stuff right here,
Test
man.
it for fent.
This is the. But we could go smoke this after the show. But no, I'm just kidding. Come back from the dead after you do something like that. But I have a video from the ritual, and if you want to play it, I don't know if it has copyrighted music. Can you slide it so people could see the slide?
Yeah, I've been doing that.
So these are the slides of the actual ceremony being taken place, and that's tikva. And everything was done specifically according to halacha, which is Jewish law.
Mm-hmm.
It was a perfect cow, and meaning that it doesn't have a single hair that is not red. And also, it could never have been burdened with work. So you can't even lean a shovel up against the cow. They have to be treated in a very specific way for their whole life. And then the person who does the ritual can never have been in contact with death. So basically, they're not allowed to go to. They have to be of a specific bloodline. And what they do was they raise these children in like these elevated homes above the ground, and they never leave the home until they're ready to do the rituals. And that's like how they never come into contact.
Yeah, the reason it was on stilts is because the person who was born to do this ritual, they could never walk over a graveyard their entire life. But the issue is there's a bunch of hidden graveyards all over the earth that we don't know about it that have been washed away. So to make sure that this wasn't a thing, they raised them in a building with limestone underneath. So they're taking this ritual very seriously. So I would not be surprised if they actually just said, okay, screw it, let's do the real thing, whether or not we have permission.
With death. So the priest who did this literally lived in his home for over 20 years before he...
Never left?
Nope. Because he was born to do this ritual.
Wow.
And now that it's been done, the Messiah can come.
Okay, so this is you're talking about the return of the
Return of the Mac. Here we go.
Just to be clear, their Messiah is the Antichrist of the Christian Bible.
So this is like the Jewish Messiah is going to come back. Would that be similar? Would that be like the return of Christ, or would it be a different
Here's
guy?
the thing. I think the most fundamental difference between Judaism and Christianity is that Judaism actually believes in reincarnation. And so the Messiah is here in every generation. And there's a process by which we are awakened enough to accept the Messiah. So if the Messiah doesn't come, he dies. He's reconstituted, born into the matrix again, and has to find his way back to another thing. We can't build the temple until this happened. And now that this happened, the Messiah can come build the third temple in Jerusalem.
So here's a picture of the red heifer that they sacrificed on July 1st. This is a Facebook post from Brian Stinson. He's the evangelical who provided the red heifer. And he says it went perfectly, with a perfect priest, in a place outside the camp, and in the opinion of those I respect, we used a perfect red heifer. This ceremony was done before Hashem. He is merciful and faithful. He knows we are not perfect. So just to go over the history of the temples, the first temple was Solomon's temple. It served as a central place of worship for the ancient Israelites. This temple was later destroyed and subsequently replaced by the second temple, but was inside Solomon's temple. It was known as the Holy of Holies, and it housed the Ark of the Covenant, containing the Ten Commandments. So the second temple was a Jewish temple in Jerusalem, built after the destruction of the first temple and standing from roughly 516 BC to 70 AD. It served as the central place of worship before the Jewish people and a symbol of their faith and identity. The second temple period, spanning from the end of the Babylonian exile to the destruction of the temple by the Romans, is a significant era. So, based on biblical prophecies interpreted by some Christians, a coalition of nations, sometimes described as all nations, will attack Israel in the end times or later days. And this ritual with the red heifer is supposed to bring on the end times. Gathering of nations. These prophecies predict that a large alliance of nations, often identified as Russia, Turkey, Iran, Sudan, and Libya will gather to invade Israel. So this is going to be a really crazy dot I'm connecting here. But did anyone else notice that right after this sacrifice occurred, Nick Fuentes became mainstream? He broke containment. Am I the only one who saw that connection? Like the number one anti-Israel critic in the world became mainstream. Literally, I swear it was literally right after this ritual. Am I reading too much into this? Is he even that important of a figure? I don't know. What are people on X saying? They have sacrificed the red heifer and are out here sprinkling ashes on people in preparation for the third temple. Everything is fine. That's meme worthy right there. Someone else is saying, did you guys know they are digging under the Al-Aqsa Mosque and they are denying permits to repair the cracks in the walls to try and collapse it? Because it sits where they have to build their third temple to usher in their Antichrist, the Moshiach. First they needed to do the cow to purify the building tools, to bless the builder, or something like that. So yeah, I think at the very least, this is just them escalating their conflict against the Palestinians. Because this whole act of sacrificing the heifer, no one's more pissed off about it than the Muslims that live in that area. Because they're saying like, hey, I know what you're trying to do here. We're not dumb. I mean, Israel has made it clear they do not care about the sentiments of their neighbors whatsoever. They want to expand the Greater Israel Project. Of course, they're going after the mosque. That is just inevitably what's going to happen. They're going to make a move. And it's probably going to be a slow escalation like this, like digging under the mosque, trying to collapse it. In Brooklyn, New York, they were digging under New York. They have a history of doing stuff like this. And it was messing with the street foundation there too. And by them, I mean Chabad Lubavitch was doing that in New York. And who are the ones who did this red heifer sacrifice? That's also Chabad Lubavitch. That's why on this channel, that's who I mostly focus on, is that specific faction of Judaism. Those are the ones that push for this war in Israel the hardest. Those are the ones that have these weird ceremonies. They're the ones who are known for the most egregious crimes against children in New York. That's the laser focus of this channel. It's really them. Because yeah, this whole heifer ceremony, it happened on the heels of Benjamin Netanyahu signaling his support for the Greater Israel Project, the annexation of large swaths of the Middle East in an attempt to forcibly fulfill Old Testament prophecy. This is a post from Sovereign Bra reading the Times of Israel. Netanyahu says he's on a historic and spiritual mission, feels a connection to vision of Greater Israel. Netanyahu says he's very attached to the vision of Greater Israel, which includes areas slated for a future Palestinian state and possibly also areas that are part of present-day Jordan and Egypt. And that would be a huge escalation against the Abraham Accords, where Jordan and Egypt, they're allies of Israel right now. They get billions of dollars from America each year in order to keep their alliance with their neighbor Israel. So how are they going to come in and invade their territory? Are they just going to pay them off more, or are they going to forcibly invade? And if they do invade, will America back them? This current administration, it seems like they definitely would. Chabad Lubavitch is all over the Trump administration. So yeah, weird things happening. There's not too much information yet on this whole story, so we're gonna have to see what happens next. If they're gonna escalate moves on Al-Aqsa Mosque, if they're gonna try to expand their territory even more, gonna have to stay tuned. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.